Hey everybody, my name's Dave and this is Just the Watch. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Guanqin GJ16034, which is a Chinese watch that can be found on Gearbest or AliExpress. It's one that I purchased a few months ago, and I purchased a couple of different Chinese watches on Gearbest around the same time, and this is the one that I kept and I really enjoyed. So today I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think you should pick this watch up, and then also 5 reasons you might want to consider skipping it, 5 negative things about it. So let's take a look at it. So I bought this watch from Gearbest.com, and right now they're coming up on their 5-year anniversary, so they're running all kinds of promotions on their site right now. So I thought this would be a good time to get this video out. I wanted to get out this week. Their actual anniversary is on March 21st, so I would say, go check them out, see what kind of coupons they got. If you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'll talk specifically about the promotions that they're running right now and how you can take advantage of the best deals. But let's go ahead and get into the review. Okay, before we jump into the reasons, let's just take a quick look at the dimensions of the watch and some of the specifications of it. So this one comes in at 40 millimeters in diameter, 11 millimeter thickness, so pretty thin watch, especially for an automatic. You're getting 49 millimeters lug to lug, a full stainless steel case with a screw down exhibition case back that shows off the Japanese automatic movement that's inside of it. You have mildly loomed hands, a sapphire crystal, genuine leather strap with a deployant clasp, and then this one comes with 30 meters of water resistance. All right, so let's look at 5 reasons why I think you should pick this watch up. And the number one reason, and probably the biggest reason why this watch is so appealing, is the price. You can pick this watch up for usually between $50 and $60 on Gearbest, depending on what sales or promotions they're running. And for that money, it's almost unbelievable the amount of watch that you're getting. So we'll go over, that, and that'll comprise what the other reasons are. And you kind of got a glimpse of this in the specs already. If you haven't heard of this watch, if you saw the specs when we looked at it and then you hear the price of the watch, that should be enough to tell you there's something pretty amazing going on here, because it's really unheard of to be able to get a watch like this with those specs at that price range. All right, reason number 2 you should pick up this watch, and that's the movement inside of it. So this watch, for the price, again, $50, you're getting a Japanese automatic movement. So this is not a quartz watch. You're getting an automatic movement, and it's not a Chinese movement. It's a Japanese movement. Now, there is one sort of negative with that, and that's, we're going to hit this again when we come down to the reasons not to buy this. Recently, there's been some change up in the manufacturing, and so they're sometimes shipping out watches that have a Seiko NH36A movement in it, which is hackable, hand winding, quiet, great movement. And then some of them they're sending out with a Miyota, I think it's an 8200 series. I'm not 100% sure exactly which Miyota movement it is that they're sending out. The one that I got came with the Seiko movement, which was great. The Miyota movement, again, very reliable movement, workhorse. Nothing wrong with it, but probably not as good as the Seiko. So you're not going to be 100% sure which one you're going to get. But again, either one for this price is an amazing deal. To be able to get either this Seiko or Miyota Japanese movement at this price range, completely unheard of. Number 3 reason you should pick this watch up, it comes with a sapphire crystal. So again, really high-end feature. Again, typically you wouldn't see a sapphire crystal in most watches until you get north of $200-300. So to be able to get one in a $50 watch is just amazing, and it's just such a great feature to have. Sapphire crystal is one of my favorite features to get on watches, particularly dress watches, because I feel like a dress watch should always have a clean, pristine look. And if you get a dress watch that has a mineral crystal, it's eventually going to start getting scratches and scuffs. And when that happens, I feel like it's less desirable as a dress watch in a formal situation. And so a dress watch with a sapphire crystal is just an amazing thing. Great deal there, and I really love that they included that in this. And that's the number 3 reason, is that it comes with the sapphire crystal. Number 4 reason why I like, and this is why I like this particular one, is I think it has a really kind of unique look to it. It's not like an homage to anything else that I'm aware of, and it's got just some cool features. So this one, particularly the most unique feature of it would be the bezel. It has kind of a 12-sided beveled bezel around the watch, and it's just such a cool look that I haven't seen that on any other dress watch. And it's like a very subtle thing, but it's a very interesting looking thing. And for me, that's one of the great features of a dress watch, that it has something that's interesting in it, but it's not like this sort of thing that you're going to immediately notice from across the room and is going to draw a lot of attention. It's a very subtle look, but it's a very interesting look. The other interesting thing about this is that it has these kind of sword-shaped loomed hands that I think, when I first looked at it, when I first got it, that was the one thing that popped out at me. I thought, this doesn't quite fit. This watch should have, like, maybe some dolphin style hands, something more angular, maybe drop the loom altogether, something a little bit more elegant. These hands, they almost look a little bit sporty on there, and maybe a little bit out of place, but it's really kind of growing me. It's sort of a quirky look, but again, it's one of these it's a very subtle thing. It's not something that's a big distraction from the watch. It actually really helps the legibility of the watch, having that loom in there. The loom doesn't really do anything, but just the white contrasts, I think, better against the silver dial than an actual silver non-loomed hands would. And I think because of that, it actually makes it a little bit more versatile. So you've got a little bit of a sporty element to it. So if you put it on like a NATO, or even I got this shark mesh strap that you're supposed to put on sports watches, but I threw it on there and it actually looks kind of cool. I was wearing it out in the snow under my gloves and snow jacket, and yeah, it almost felt like I had some kind of a hiking watch on or something like that. I felt like like I was wearing a Rolex Explorer, which I totally wasn't. It's nothing like a Rolex Explorer, but yeah, just that kind of sporty feel to it. And it worked with a more sporty bracelet like that because of the hands. But then again, when you put it back on a leather strap, it has a very, it looks like a dress watch off the bat, but it's just kind of this little bit of a quirky thing. So number 5 is, again, sort of in the same vein as the look. So even though it is sort of an interesting, quirky looking watch, it's a very classic looking watch at the same time. So it totally fits the bill for a dress watch. You're getting this really beautiful Sunburst silver dial, and I just love the way that the light hits off of it. You're getting some very traditional, nicely applied markers. You get a nice Roman numeral at the 12 o'clock. So very, very nice classic dress watch look on a lot of things. And it totally is not like this weird kind of open heart, really attention grabbing dress watch. It's a very traditional looking watch that at the same time has some subtle, interesting details to it. So I think it's just a great all-around watch because of that. And those would be the 5 reasons I would say that I would pick up this watch. And those are the 5 main things that came into play when I did decide to buy it. All right, let's look at 5 reasons now why you might want to pass on this watch. So number 1 reason, the strap and the clasp is not that great. I would say it's probably terrible. That's one of the first things I did. I tried wearing it for a while on the included strap and clasp, and I actually at first thought it was kind of cool. They include a butterfly deployant clasp, and I thought that's a great bonus to throw in again at this price range. It's like that's unheard of to get a deployant clasp on your leather strap for $50. But it wasn't a very comfortable clasp. It was kind of sharp. It kind of dug into my wrist a little bit. And then the strap was this kind of, it's a genuine leather strap, but it was a faux crocodile skin strap, which I'm not a big fan of. Kind of a cheaply made strap, a little bit stiff, a little fake looking. But nice color. It looked pretty nice on the watch. But yeah, I almost immediately took the strap off and started putting it on different straps and got something different to put it on. Okay, number 2 reason why you might want to skip and pass on this watch. Yeah, like I mentioned before, there's some confusion over the movement that you're going to get. So if you have your heart set on getting the Seiko NH36 movement, there's no guarantee that you will get it. If you really want, if you really want to avoid the Miyota movement for whatever reason, yeah, you're going to have to kind of roll the dice a little bit. And if that's not something you're interested in doing, you might want to pass on the watch. Number 3 reason you might want to skip this one. It does have those kind of quirky design choices. Like those hands are not for everyone, and if you look at that and if that really is a turnoff to you, you might want to look at something different, something a little bit more traditional. Which leads us to number 4. The number 4 reason you might want to skip this watch is that there are other options out there. Cadisen in particular has a couple of different models of watches in the same price range that are more traditional looking and you might argue are a better value. So they have one that actually has a full stainless steel bracelet, which is a great, a nice fitted stainless steel bracelet. Which is a great extra again, but at basically the same price. Also for that price, you're getting a 50-meter water resistance on the Cadisen versus this Guanqin only has a 30-meter water resistance. So you could argue that Cadisen is a better bang for the buck and you're getting more value for your money. The reason I did not go for the Cadisen and I chose the Guanqin instead was I really liked the design of the Guanqin better. It just really was such a cool looking original design. The Cadisen's a much safer looking watch, much more classic dress watch and kind of a little bit on the boring side, I think. But for a lot of people that might be a better thing. So look around, and there's a few different other models. I'll try and drop some links to them in the description below. But there's a couple of different options there that you can pick. Last and finally, the 5th reason you might want to skip this one, and this is kind of true of a lot of these Chinese watches, their quality control is not always there, and it's a little bit of a pain sometimes to deal with Gearbest or these overseas websites where their customer service, maybe English isn't their first language. So if you don't want to have that hassle, you probably want to stay out of trying to look into these Chinese watches. I have gotten a couple of them that I've had problems with. This particular, the Guanqin that I've got, my GJ16034, it seems like it really needs to be regulated. It's running at about 45 seconds fast a day, which is pretty far out of spec. But again, at this price range, it's something that rather than return it, I just figured, well, maybe this would be a good opportunity for me to practice regulating a watch. So that's kind of a project I'm going to have down the road. But that should be unusual because the movement should be one of the most safest things about this watch. So it's even though it's got the Seiko NH36 movement in it, for whatever reason, mine seems to need to be regulated, which that could happen with any watch that has a Seiko movement in it. But yeah, so if you're concerned about quality control and don't want to deal with the hassle of having to risk returning it or dealing with Chinese websites overseas, that might be the 5th reason you would skip this one. All right, so I'm going to show you how to get the best deal on Gearbest on this one right now. So Gearbest is always running different promotions and things, and sometimes you kind of got to work the system a little bit to get the best deal. So this one, they have it listed for $60 right now. But sorry, not this one, this promotion. Order 2 items, get 20% off. Order 3 items, get 25% off. And this is in the fashion category, I think. So the trick here, we're going to just go ahead and add this to the cart. And after we add it, it's still going to be $60. When we take a look at it. But if we add 2 more watches, we can get 25% off. And they have watches that are as cheap as like $2. So this is going to be actually save us a lot of money. So we'll go here. This is the cheapest watch they have on the site. We'll order 2 of them, put them in our cart. And now when we go and look at our cart, the price is going to be much lower. Now, it's probably a better thing if there's other watches on Gearbest you want. This is a great time to get them because this is actually a really good coupon. But if you only want this one, you see now it drops down to $47 in the cart. Once they add the shipping, it's going to be a little bit higher. And then they have a shipping guarantee, which, if you want a little bit of peace of mind, you got to pay the extra $4 or $5. But if you just want it as cheap as possible, you can knock that off and get it down below $50. I'll drop some links down below to some other cool watches that are pretty cheap, that are more desirable, because these 2 quartz ones, you're probably just going to throw them away. You're just basically ordering them to get that 25% off discount, which will knock the price down by about $10. So that's how you get the cheapest deal right now, but Gearbest is always changing things, so just to be aware of that. So yeah, I hope that helps you guys out as you consider whether or not to get this particular watch. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably have your eyes on a couple of other ones, but hopefully that sort of sets forth what I think the strongest reasons in favor of this one are. And I still have kept mine around. I really enjoyed it. I did another video a while back where I compared it to my Orient Bambino, and I actually wound up selling the Bambino and keeping this one because I felt like, for just a standard dress watch for formal occasions, this one would meet all of my needs. And actually, I sold the Orient Bambino to buy an Orient Polaris instead. So it was kind of like swapping out one Orient for another. But yeah, anyways, the Orient Polaris review will be coming up shortly. Okay, but anyways, let's wrap this up. And it was good talking to you guys, and we'll see you next time.